Part 46. Entertainment, let you do a side job and set up a stall to tell fortunes. Author, Immortal Q int Love is. Chapter 451. At this time, everyone was still immersed in gratitude to Yang Lin. And Yang Lin also took advantage of the situation to express his demands. When you fill up this place, Pandeo hopes that you can build a shrine above it to worship Pandeo. In this way, it will not only enhance the feng shui here, but also weaken the evil spirit here. If the incense flourishes in the future, it will also increase the popularity of this place. As soon as these words came out, all the leaders present in the demon city agreed without even thinking about it. Of course there is no problem with this. Even if you don't mention it, Taoist Yang, we still have this idea. Yes, you have done such a big favor for us in the demon city this time. The people of the demon city are very grateful to you. Let alone building one living shrine, even if I build 10 for you, it's not too much. With your legend and story, this place will probably become another scenic spot in 100 years. And I heard that in your temple, as long as you ask for something, you can get it. Many citizens of the Magic City even take a special trip to Loteng City to offer you incense. Now they don't have to go to Loteng City. I believe this matter will definitely receive active support from the general public. Don't worry, Dao Zhongyang, we will arrange this matter soon. By the way, I heard that Jinghai City has already built your shrine. We might as well just copy their style. Following everyone's discussion, the matter of building a shrine for Yang Lin was quickly put on the agenda. Perhaps in order to solve the hidden danger as soon as possible, the Magic City officials blasted and demolished the financial center building that day. In the end, the 400-meter-tall building, which cost several billion, turned into a pile of rubble and fell into the sinkhole next to it with a burst of explosions. Then there were muck trucks carrying surface oil collected from various places and dumped them into the sinkhole. Finally, a layer of reinforced concrete structure is laid on top. In less than 2 days, the sinkhole was filled up and replaced by a huge central square. After the square was completed, Yang Lin carefully designed a feng shui array for it. The 4 holy beasts are placed at the 4 corners, and many auspicious beasts are arranged in an array. Absorb the feng shui aura around you. Many of the stone carvings were carved by Yang Lin himself. When the formation was formed, changes around the square were almost visible to the naked eye. Coupled with its slightly sunken terrain, it looks like a cornucopia from a distance. Everyone who walks in will feel relieved. It didn't take long for this place to become the place for new internet celebrities to check in the Magic City. Therefore, the popularity here is becoming more and more prosperous, and the dragon veins that were originally in deficit have gradually been restored. At the same time, the construction of the Shenxi temple located in the middle of the square also started. After learning the news, some wealthy people in the city immediately spent huge sums of money, not only taking over all the engineering projects, but even donating tens of millions of funds. Even the people of the Magic City contribute money and efforts if they have money. Yang Lin himself, after leaving behind a stone statue carved by himself, led the Dao sect members to leave the demon city and head towards the next city. When they appeared at the Shanghai high-speed railway station again, they quickly attracted a lot of attention just like last time. Perhaps out of respect for them, no passengers approached or surrounded them rashly this time. Wait a minute, look at how the direction of the ticket gate they went to seems to be the same as mine. Zhongcheng netizens who got the news all of a sudden were panicked. And compared with the Magic City, the problems in Zhongcheng City are more serious. There are not just 1 building with problems, but 3. Only those buildings invested by Zairi can be sealed in advance. I'm going to Zhongcheng. Damn it, so there's something wrong with Zhongcheng too. So are they going back to Loteng City or continuing to the next city? Stop talking, I'm going to book a ticket and leave here. Let's go out and avoid the limelight first. Are Yang Lin and the others leaving the Magic City? When netizens at the high-speed rail station uploaded this video to the internet, netizens in Zhongcheng immediately went crazy. Where are you going? And the direction of this train was obviously towards Zhongcheng. I'm just afraid that if something happens near my home, I won't be able to run away even if I want to. They became anxious on the spot. It goes without saying that if they continue to stay, I won't dare to stay any longer. And since the Magic City is not too far away from Zhongcheng, only about 3.5 hours passed before Yang Lin and a group of people appeared at the Zhongcheng high-speed railway station. It's over. There must be problems in our city too. Weren't we also tampered with by those gangsters? It's broken. I'm watching the excitement and saw my own house coming. That makes sense. If they continue to stay here, it means there are other problems in the city. Then I will definitely be the first to run away. It goes without saying that people are already coming to our place. They can't just come to our place for tourism. Although they already knew that there must be a feng shui problem somewhere in the city where they were, they couldn't know the crux of the problem without the guidance of an expert like Yang Lin. Because of their experience in Magic City, the leaders of Zhongcheng City were filled with anxiety after meeting Yang Lin. But this still cannot stop their gossip and curiosity. I believe that you already know the purpose of Pandeo coming here. The Feng Shui masters of those young days have already set up formations at the dragon veins of the city. As soon as these words came out, the faces of the leaders of Zhongcheng City who were responsible for welcoming him immediately turned pale. I thought that the problems in Zhongcheng City were not as complicated as those in the Magic City, but I did not expect that the problems were even more serious than those in the Magic City. These days, I have been worried every day, so after seeing Yang Lin, in addition to being a little uneasy, I also had a little expectation. I don't know where the next unlucky city will be. Just when everyone was speculating, Nanning also walked into the ticket gate with several apprentices and a group of Taoist people, and then boarded a train. Those little days must have affected more than just our city. After some simple greetings, Yang Lin got straight to the point. Before that, a group of leaders from Zhongcheng City were already waiting here. It's no wonder that the Dragon Vein must be in the most prosperous place closest to the central axis of a city. Then who can tell me where the dragon veins of our Zhongcheng are? I'll try to stay away. These 3 buildings are located in 3 areas of Zhongcheng City. If they are activated at the same time, it will not only affect the dragon's luck in Zhongcheng City, but also shake the Yangtze River, the main artery of the Dragon Kingdom. Entertainment, let you do a side job and set up a stall to tell fortunes. Author, Immortal Q int Love is. Chapter 452. Although Zhongcheng is not an important economic city in the Dragon Kingdom like the Magic City, its status in the country is still high. Coupled with its unique geographical location, it also plays an important role in the Dragon Kingdom. Perhaps that's why it became one of the goals in those little days. After Yang Lin explained the situation to the leaders of Zhongcheng City, they did not dare to delay at all. He immediately led Yang Lin and others to the place they had prepared earlier and held an emergency meeting. At the same time, large dark clouds suddenly floated over the huge Zhongcheng for no reason. Without any warning, it soon started pouring rain. Because the rain came so suddenly, pedestrians on the road were soaked in the rain. They were cursing as they ran. What the hell is going on? The sky was clear just now, but it suddenly started raining heavily. That is to say, this heavy rain is too strange. When I went out in the morning, I checked the weather forecast. The weather forecast said it wouldn't rain in the next week. Do you believe the nonsense in the weather forecast? Although there were some errors in the past, it has never been as outrageous as it is today. Why is the rain getting heavier and heavier? The dark clouds in the sky are so scary. I feel like something's not quite right. As time went by, the heavy rain in the sky showed no sign of stopping. The area of dark clouds also began to spread toward the surrounding area. The whole city seemed to be covered by a black curtain. It was still broad daylight, but the sky was as dark as night. The originally calm river surface was now turbulent, causing waves. Such a strange celestial phenomenon instantly made the people of Zhongcheng City panic. When the time came to 12 noon, Yang Lin and others were led to the municipal building of Zhongcheng City. The huge conference room was packed with heads from different departments in Zhongcheng City, just like it was in the Magic City before. Hundreds of people gathered together, but no one spoke. Everyone looked at Yang Lin in front of the conference room. However, Yang Lin's gaze at this moment was just looking out the window. At this moment, the heavy rain outside the window continued to hit, and the black clouds were getting lower and lower. Buildings 50 meters away are almost completely invisible, let alone other places further away. Standing in this rapid rain, there is even a feeling of isolation from the world. Faced with this situation, Boss Yang and the other 5 disciples standing next to him all showed sad faces. The rain is so weird. It's not just weird, it's simply bizarre. It's only been a few months, how could there be such a heavy rainstorm? The heavy rains in typhoon days will not be this heavy. What's even more coincidental is that it started raining heavily as soon as we came here. It feels like this rain was specially made for us. The 5 people looked at each other while talking, and they had basically guessed what the rain was about. You don't need to think about it to know that this is a small day, in order to prevent them from destroying the arrangements they made in Zhongcheng. A certain feng shui secret technique was specially used to induce heavy rain to cover up the sun and confuse the heavens. In this way, they cannot use the true fire of the sun to break the evil spirit like they did in the previous demon city. At the same time, he can also cover his whereabouts. And they can all think of this, and Yang Lin can naturally think of it too. However, he just smiled contemptuously. It's just a small trick. Less than 10 kilometers away, they walked for an hour. Daozang Yang, what do you mean? It doesn't matter. These two things are one thing in themselves. Just solve them together. The vehicle in which Yang Lin and others were riding was struggling to move forward on the city road with dozens of centimeters of water dripping from it. Now what? Zhongcheng City, with a population of tens of millions, entered a state of shutdown at this moment, and residents were forced to hide at home and look helplessly at the sky. As soon as these words came out, the leaders who were just about to leave the conference room immediately looked over. They immediately arranged vehicles and led Yang Lin and others to the intersection of the 2 rivers. No one could have imagined that at such a critical moment, such an unexpected situation would arise. This heavy rain was caused by those little guys who used special means. If they can't break their rules, the rain won't stop. And this heavy rain has no intention of stopping at all. If it continues like this, I'm afraid there will be a flood. After they gradually calmed down, they remembered what Yang Lin had just said. By the time the meeting ended, it was already an hour later. When a responsible leader was about to ask them what they needed to do next, Yang Lin had already spoken first. A big leader present immediately made the decision. After hearing Yang Lin explain the reason, everyone present suddenly became angry and angry. After hearing Yang Lin's arrangements, the leaders present naturally nodded their heads. Ignore them for now. After Pandeo arranges everything, he can break their rules with just a few tricks. This includes evacuating the crowd, sealing off the scene, and preparing some props they need on site. When the car stopped, a raging river appeared in front of them. Please take us to the intersection of the 2 rivers now. There is one more thing to do before the official action. At this moment, the heavy rain had been falling for nearly 2 hours, and the entire city was shrouded in rain. After saying that, he turned his attention to the conference room again. Suddenly hearing these words, the faces of all the leaders present changed immediately. And the cooperation of some relevant personnel. Sorry, we just detected that the water levels in several river sections have increased abnormally, and they will soon reach the warning level. After a series of previous incidents, they already had unconditional trust in Yang Lin. Coupled with the dark sky, visibility on the road did not exceed 10 meters. Yes, we just picked a time when we are the busiest. At this moment, a middle-aged man wearing a raincoat and soaked to the skin suddenly ran in a hurry. However, at this moment Yang Lin suddenly spoke. "What's going on today? This heavy rain will come sooner or later, but it's coming at this time. What else can we do? We can only divide some people to deal with the flood situation first, and the other people will follow Taoist Yang and the others." But when they saw the continuous rain outside the window, they could understand. Just like in the Magic City before, he quickly told everyone about some matters that required the cooperation of local officials. They didn't care about their respective images and just yelled. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Entertainment, let you do a side job and set up a stall to tell fortunes. Author, Immortal Q int Love is. Chapter 453. Looking at the longest river in the Dragon Kingdom in front of them, everyone who got off the car felt strange. It is currently a dry season, and the area where Zhongcheng City is located is relatively flat, so the water flow is usually relatively stable under normal circumstances. Not to mention big winds and waves, even small winds and waves are very rare. But the situation in front of them subverted their understanding. I saw that the exposure of the river in front of me was more than tens of meters higher than normal, and the water level also rose significantly. What's even more terrifying is that gusts of demonic wind blow out of nowhere on the river. Swept by this evil wind, huge waves more than 10 meters high would rise from time to time on the river. Those who knew it was in the river, but those who didn't knew it thought it was on the sea. The rolling appearance of the river, coupled with the loud sound of it lapping along the shore, made everyone who saw it unable to help but retreat. How could this happen? I have never seen such a situation in Zhongcheng for decades. Yes, even when there was a major flood more than 20 years ago, the river was not as fierce as it is today. It's horrible, it's really horrible. If this continues, sooner or later the river will overflow its banks and submerge the surrounding areas. What should I do? While the leaders were all at a loss and looking horrified, Yang Lin threw the umbrella in his hand aside. Facing the strong wind and heavy rain, we walked towards the river. Boss Yang and several other disciples as well as a group of Taoists naturally followed suit. With magic protection, they don't need to hold an umbrella at all. Opening a magic shield on the surface of the body is enough to block the wind and rain. Not long after, Yang Lin walked to the river. He was only one step away from the raging river. If he was not careful, he would be swept away by the river. After taking a casual look, he looked at the people behind him. Have you seen any clues? Hearing Yang Lin's sudden question, everyone quickly cheered up and looked into the river. After watching for about a minute, Boss Yang took the lead and said, "There seems to be something in the river." "Yes, I feel it too. This thing seems to have been stealing the water vein dragon energy in the Yangtze River. It must have caused the heavy rain in the sky. Needless to say, it must be Zai's fault. They put something into the Yangtze River." Seeing that several people could see something was wrong with the river, Yang Lin couldn't help but show admiration to them. "It seems that you have made great progress. Then take another guess at what is in the river." Facing Yang Lin's second question, everyone immediately used their knowledge to explore the river in front of them. However, this time they returned in vain. Even Boss Yang, who is proficient in divination, counted on his fingers for a long time and couldn't figure it out. Just when the scene was awkward for a moment, a small head suddenly emerged from Boss Yang's Taoist robe. It was the little white dragon. Seeing the little white dragon showing its head, Yang Lin grabbed it by the back of the neck. "It seems that you feel the aura of the same kind. In that case, it's up to you to lure it out." After saying that, he threw the little white dragon forcefully towards the river under the puzzled eyes of everyone. As a huge wave rolled, the little white dragon immediately disappeared without a trace. After almost a minute, a huge figure suddenly emerged from the river. Witnessed by hundreds of people present, a white dragon that was tens of meters long emerged from the river. It was the little white dragon that had just been thrown into the river. Boss Yang's 5 people also recognized its identity at a glance. It's Xiaobai. Why did it show its true form? Yeah, doesn't it usually look small? I looked at it like it was very wary. Why does it keep looking at the river? Is there something else inside that could threaten it? Just when a few people were confused, the leaders behind them were also stunned. It seemed that he couldn't believe that he could actually see the legendary creature. What they didn't expect was that not long after the little white dragon emerged from the river, a huge black shadow suddenly appeared on the rough river. As soon as the black shadow appeared, the already violent wind and waves suddenly intensified, and the rain also became heavier. Roar! With a loud roar, a giant thing twice as big as the small white dragon emerged from the river. A huge body over hundreds of meters long, covered with black scales and a pair of black spiral-shaped sharp horns. Coupled with the ferocious appearance, everyone on the shore unconsciously thought of a legendary creature, a dragon. If the little white dragon is a dragon, then the behemoth in front of him is a real dragon. Because it not only has a pair of dragon horns, but also has a long mane on its back and 4 claws. The face shape is also closer to that of a real dragon. But if you look carefully, there are some subtle differences from the real dragon in the legend of the Dragon Kingdom. What's more important is that it doesn't have the majesty and domineering look of a real dragon. Instead, it is full of evil and gloominess. It makes people feel cold all over after watching it. Suddenly everyone on the shore was shocked by this sudden strange creature. Wang Defa, what the hell is this? Is it a real dragon? But it doesn't look like it. Strictly speaking, this is indeed a dragon, but it is not the dragon of our country, but the dragon of my childhood. I have read their myths and legends before, and the dragons in their myths and legends look like this. How did you do it these days? You actually managed to get the dragon out. So this weird weather and the changes in the river water are all caused by the sky. I'm afraid this is also one of their trump cards. Just when everyone was surprised and confused, Yang Lin also began to explain. This so-called dragon should be based on an ordinary creature, catalyzed by their magic, and finally cultivated in the river with a special feng shui formation, stealing the river's dragon energy to strengthen itself. Thus, the dragon you see before you is formed, but it only has the shape of a dragon and is not a real dragon. After listening to Yang Lin's explanation, everyone suddenly understood. But then they also had a new problem. Can Xiaobai beat it? Boss Yang just asked this question with a worried look on his face, and the answer to this question soon came. I saw the evil dragon that had just emerged from the turbulent river, and immediately showed a ferocious look on its face after seeing the little white dragon. Then he opened his mouth wide and bit at the little white dragon. Seeing this situation, the little white dragon didn't even have the courage to fight with it, so he just ran away. That look of giving in was quicker than ever. Seeing this scene, Boss Yang and others couldn't help but feel worried. They wanted to help, but they couldn't get close to the river. However, at this moment Yang Lin suddenly walked to another place on the shore. There happened to be a huge piece of ebony washed ashore by the river. Entertainment, let you do a side job and set up a stall to tell fortunes. Author, Immortal Q int Love is. Chapter 454. 100-meter-long black evil dragon in the rolling river is chasing Xiaobai, hiding here and there. The huge size gap between the two made Xiaobai no match for the black dragon. In addition, the black evil dragon has absorbed the water vein dragon energy in the Yangtze River, and it is even smoother in its home field. A single strike can cause huge waves. There were roaring sounds from time to time, which resounded throughout Zhongcheng, making the residents hiding in their homes tremble. Faced with this situation, Boss Yang and the other 5 people immediately became anxious. Just when they wanted to ask Yang Lin for help, they saw Yang Lin dragging a long ebony tree from the river. This piece of ebony is more than 20 meters long and as thick as a human waist. It has been soaked in the river water for an unknown length of time and is completely black. If it hadn't been for the rising water this time, I might have continued to soak at the bottom of the river. Not long after, Yang Lin dragged it to the shore. And his operation also aroused everyone's doubts. Immediately, Boss Yang couldn't help but came over and asked, "Master, what are you planning to do? Xiaobai will be killed by that evil dragon soon. We have to find a way to help it." "Yes, Xiaobai is so pitiful. He can't defeat that evil dragon at all." Lu Tianxian also walked over at this moment and said with a look of pity. After hearing what the two of them said, Yang Lin couldn't help but smile. Who says Pandeo won't help him? Isn't Pandeo looking for helpers for him? Helper. Hearing this word, the puzzled expressions on everyone's faces suddenly became more intense. At this moment, Yang Lin suddenly stretched out his hand and pointed at the piece of ebony in front of him. "What do you think this piece of wood in front of you looks like?" Although they didn't quite understand why Yang Lin suddenly asked such a question, everyone still looked at it seriously. After carefully examining it, Xiao Yuyu immediately showed an uncertain expression. "It looks a bit like a dragon, with a dragon head on one side and a tail on the other side. It seems to have scales on its body." Xiao Yuyu can see it, and others can naturally see it too. But they still don't quite understand what this has to do with helping Xiaobai. However, Yang Lin didn't explain much. He reached out and took out the hammer and chisel from his cuffs. In front of everyone, he started beating on this piece of ebony wood. As the chisel continues to fall, pieces of wood chips fall off. After that, Xiaobai also became dangerous in the river beside him. After being accidentally hit by the evil dragon, blood began to flow out of his body. But even so, it was still entangled with it in the river. Under everyone's anxious eyes, the piece of ebony wood was quickly carved into the shape of a divine dragon by Yang Lin. Dragon head, dragon body, dragon claws, dragon scales, dragon tail, everything is complete. It is almost identical to the Chinese dragon in myths and legends. Compared with it, the evil dragon in the river can only be reduced to monsters. Despite this, after everyone saw this dragon carved from wood, they always felt that something was missing. It wasn't until their eyes moved to the dragon's head that they vaguely understood. This majestic dragon is only missing a pair of eyes, or in other words, although it has eyes, it has no beads. Seems extremely empty. At this time, everyone gradually understood Yang Lin's intention. "Master, are you planning to let the wooden dragon help Xiaobai? Then we have to make it come alive first. How can we make him come back to life? I guess if you just add eyes to it, it should come to life." Hearing Lu Tianxian's words, Yang Lin immediately smiled and nodded at her. "You were partly right, but not entirely. This can indeed revive it, but it will not have the ability to fight that evil dragon. If we wanted to defeat that evil dragon, we need the help of all of you here." "Us?" In the confused eyes of several people, Yang Lin suddenly gathered all the Taoist priests present together. In front of everyone, he asked people to find the incense table. Even the heavy rain that had been falling before started to turn into heavy rain. What happened today is absolutely outrageous. After a moment's hesitation, he started writing on the yellow paper. Everyone vaguely saw a few lines of words on the yellow paper. Then the scales on his body began to transform into pale gold. The golden divine dragon, which was still a little blurry at first, can now be seen more clearly. There was another loud dragon roar, and the golden divine dragon immediately began to stir in the sea of clouds in the sky. That golden body instantly reflected the entire sky in gold, just like a ray of sunlight shining into the dark night. At the same time, the name of the dragon god of the Yangtze River also appeared on the gold book placed aside. Now that the world really has everything, it's not surprising that a dragon pops up. Look. What's that thing in the sky over there? Amidst everyone's stunned expressions, the dragon carved from wood suddenly let out a loud roar. After all, in this dark sky, the golden figure is too dazzling. This also means that the piece of wood in front of you has been absorbed into the Taoist spirit. Everyone thought it was over here, but Yang Lin suddenly cut his finger and squeezed out 2 drops of pale golden blood. Roar! Suddenly, the originally empty eyes gained a touch of agility. When he finished writing, Yang Lin took out the heavenly master seal that he had prepared and placed it heavily on the yellow paper. After its body completely turned golden, it suddenly twisted its body and jumped into the air. In front of everyone, these 2 drops of blood were smeared on Zhenlong's left eye and right eye respectively. In this violent storm, the incense table was placed in front of the dragon carved out of wood. Soon we reached an altitude of several hundred meters. This strange sight not only attracted the attention of the evil dragon in the river, but also attracted the attention of tens of millions of people in the entire river city. Just as the people were talking about it, the black clouds in the sky began to slowly disperse little by little. And under the gaze of countless eyes, the golden dragon suddenly turned around and plunged towards the Yangtze River. Wait a minute, have you ever felt that the rain has become a little lighter? As soon as Yang Lin completed his movements, a trace of divine radiance appeared on the originally soulless ebony dragon. And didn't you just hear the strange noise coming from the direction of the Yangtze River? It looks like a dragon, a golden dragon. Then tell me what you see here now, a long golden bird that glows. How is this possible? Are there really creatures like dragons in the world? The visibility of the entire city has also improved a lot. Now I decree that you are the dragon god of the Yangtze River, in charge of the wind and rain of the Yangtze River, and enjoy the incense of all people. Then he lit 3 incense sticks and took out a red pen and yellow paper. Entertainment, let you do a side job and set up a stall to tell fortunes. Author, Immortal Q int Love is. Chapter 455. On the shore, as the golden divine dragon rose into the sky, everyone present except Yang Lin fell into a strong shock. Although they had seen the black dragon before. But the shock brought by the black dragon was far from comparable to the golden dragon in front of him. The former is more like a beast that has gained some powerful ability. The latter is a legendary beast worthy of worship by thousands of people. Whether it is posture or temperament, the latter completely surpasses the former, and is more in line with everyone's expectations for Shenlong. Because of this, their eyes never left the golden dragon. It wasn't until it flew down from the sky towards the river that everyone came back to their senses. Is this the dragon god of the Yangtze River? He is indeed very majestic. As soon as he appeared on the scene, he solved the terrifying celestial phenomenon caused by the evil dragon. Now he is probably going to fight with the evil dragon. Great, Shenlong must kill this evil dragon who has done many evil things. Then it goes without saying that the evil dragon created this little day is just a wild beast. How can it possibly defeat our mighty dragon god? You say so, master. However, when everyone finished speaking, Yang Lin shook his head. Judging from the current situation, the evil dragon in the river must be stronger. It stole the power of the entire Yangtze River's dragon vein. In comparison, this divine dragon has just been born. It has not experienced the incense and worship of all people, and it does not have much divine power in its body. If we really fight, it and Ziobai combined can't defeat that evil dragon. As soon as these words came out, everyone's expressions changed immediately. They thought that as soon as the divine dragon appeared, the evil dragon would immediately wait for the kill, but they didn't expect that its strength was not as good as that of the evil dragon. And its subsequent performance also verified Yang Lin's statement. After it flew down from the sky, it immediately fought with the evil dragon. With a body length of only over 20 meters, it was still a tiny little thing in front of the 100-meter-long evil dragon. And it seems that it doesn't have any special attack methods, it can only attack through its teeth and dragon claws. If it hadn't been for its ability to fly, I would have been captured alive by the evil dragon. Fortunately, its appearance alleviated Xiaobai's crisis and gave Xiaobai a chance to breathe. However, if things continue like this, the evil dragon will still have the upper hand. At the same time, the wind and waves on the river have not diminished at all, and the water level has continued to rise. Everyone on the shore couldn't help but become anxious again, but Yang Lin still had the same calm expression as before. Perhaps seeing the anxious looks on everyone's faces, he calmly took out a scripture from his arms. Take this Dragon King Sutra of heavy rain and recite it loudly to the sky, and the dragon god in the sky will naturally feel it. As soon as these words came out, a hint of surprise appeared on everyone's faces. Without any time to think, Huahua directly reached out to take the scripture, and then gathered everyone together. After explaining it to everyone, he opened the first page of the scripture and started chanting loudly. The sea is a palace, and Yao Island is connected to it. The descendants of the sky are the descendants of the vast sky. He held the post for 3 days and commanded the order to control hundreds of spirits. As the scriptures were recited, a series of mysterious special powers flew towards the golden dragon in the sky. It contains everyone's praise for the dragon god and their own piety. Under the influence of this power, the golden dragon, which was originally weak in strength, suddenly began to grow in size. In less than a few seconds, it skyrocketed from more than 20 meters to more than 50 meters. Then it jumped from more than 50 meters to more than 100 meters in an instant. The sudden increase in body size brings about a sudden increase in strength. At this moment, countless people stuck their heads out of the window. As soon as the 4 claws were loosened, the dragon's body fell to the river. They looked at the sky that had cleared up after the rain, then at the river surface that was gradually returning to calm before them, and finally their eyes all looked at Yang Lin. Let's go, it's time to settle accounts with them. A huge wound appeared on the body on the spot. The dark clouds in the sky gradually dispersed completely, and the warm sunshine once again shone on the river and over the city. The bright red dragon's blood continued to roll down into the river like rain. During the entire process just now, although Yang Lin did not take part in the battle, everything seemed to be as he expected. The evil black dragon that Zairi regarded as his trump card was easily eliminated by him. Immediately, many people knelt down on the ground devoutly and worshipped the sky. The overall image is also closer to that of a divine dragon. It will not take long for it to transform into a real dragon. At the same time, Xiaobai, who had been in the river before, was now rushing towards the evil dragon corpse floating on the river with a face full of excitement. Thinking of what happened just now, everyone didn't know that they were able to regain peace thanks to the golden dragon in front of them. At this moment, Yang Lin, who had his hands behind his back, suddenly spoke. After devouring the evil dragon, not only did it successfully recover from its injuries, it even grew in size. At this moment, the golden divine dragon, which had defeated the black dragon, turned around and plunged into the river. And this golden lightning completely frightened it. Before it had time to think about it, it was ready to dive into the raging river. It also gives it more divine power. Without saying a word, he opened his mouth wide and tore off a large piece of flesh and blood from the evil dragon's body. Without the home court advantage, the black dragon's power was immediately weakened by half. But the golden dragon didn't intend to let it go. As soon as he moved, the 2 pairs of sharp dragon claws under his body tightly grasped the black dragon's body. Just like an eagle catching a chicken, it was carried directly into the air. How can it be a real dragon's opponent if it is just a pseudo-dragon? The original violent storm also stopped at this moment. It was only then that everyone on the shore finally came to their senses. With the fierce tearing of the golden dragon, a large piece of flesh and blood and the throat were directly bitten off. After the black dragon died, the golden dragon also showed a trace of disdain in his eyes. As the dragon god of the Yangtze River, it will shoulder the heavy responsibility of guarding the good weather of the Yangtze River from now on. After it suddenly let out a dragon roar that was louder than before, a golden lightning shot out of the huge dragon mouth. Even though it struggled desperately, the golden dragon still opened its mouth and bit its neck. The next second the black dragon tilted its head and died on the spot. When the black evil dragon had no time to dodge, it was directly struck by the lightning. In the clear sky after the rain, everything was so clear, so they could clearly see the golden dragon 100 meters above. Except for the river surface, which was about half a meter above the warning line, everything else seemed to have never happened. In 3 strokes, 5 divisions, and 2 strokes, this big guy, which was many times bigger than itself, was completely eaten into its stomach. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Entertainment, let you do a side job and set up a stall to tell fortunes. Author, Immortal Q int Love is. Chapter 456. In Zhongcheng City, with the appearance of the Golden Dragon, everything returned to peace. The whole city was once again flooded with sunlight. The residents who were hiding in their homes and shivering now finally dared to take to the streets. However, this situation did not last long. Half an hour later, the police and special police from the brigade sealed off some areas of the city. Just like when I was in Magic City before. Residents in this area are only allowed to leave and are not allowed to enter. Even those who have no plans to travel are forcibly restrained in their respective homes. There are 3 areas like this. They are located in the 3 core areas of Zhongcheng City, and they are all close to the river. Such a strange situation immediately aroused strong reactions from countless people. In particular, some people who had learned about what happened in the Magic City through reports immediately had a premonition that something was not going to happen. It seems that our guess was correct. We in Zhongcheng, like the Magic City, were devastated by those little days. The problem is that the Demon City did not seal off such a large area before. It seems that the problem we have here is much more complicated than that in the Demon City. I suspect they were responsible for the heavy rains before. It is recommended that those who live in this area run quickly and do not hesitate, because no one knows what will happen next. If I remember correctly, these 3 areas seem to have companies invested by Neon Country. You don't have to worry so much. After all, Yang Lin and the others are already here. Officials have already conducted inspections on these 3 areas, and the problem should not be too big. It's useless for us ordinary people to worry about this kind of thing. We can only wait for the result. Just when the people of Zhongcheng City were worried, Yang Lin had already divided his 5 disciples into 3 teams. Each led more than 60 Taoist people towards 3 different areas. He himself followed Xiao Yuiyu, who was acting alone. Not long after, we arrived at a scenic area located in a closed area. As a well-known scenic spot in Zhongcheng City, a large number of tourists gather here in the past. Therefore, no one would have thought that in this bustling scenic spot, there would be a special place that was used to destroy the dragon veins of Zhongcheng. What's even more incredible is that there is actually a leisure mountain villa open to the public. Not only does it have a large number of amusement facilities, it even has a small restaurant rated 2 stars by Michelin. Before this place was blocked, it was still a well-known place for internet celebrities to check in. Many ladies who like light luxury like to come here to take photos and check in. I don't know if it was because of the heavy rain just now or because of the lockdown. It was eerily quiet here at this time, and not a single person was seen. Despite this, no one present dared to be careless. Xiao Yuiyu led a group of Taoist people to advance forward, followed by SWAT soldiers with loaded weapons, and professional snipers on the commanding heights next to them. As soon as everyone approached the villa, a cloud of white mist suddenly rose inside the villa. This white mist seemed to be generated by water vapor or smoke produced by combustion. As soon as it appeared, it quickly spread towards the surrounding area. Seeing this situation, everyone immediately took out the gas masks they had prepared in advance and put them on their faces. But they soon discovered that the smoke did not seem to contain any toxins or ingredients harmful to the human body. It just blocks everyone's view. As time went by, the concentration of white fog became higher and higher, and visibility even dropped to less than 1 meter. The original manner seemed to be invisible. In this unknown environment, everyone became a little panicked unconsciously. But at this moment, there were waves of scalp-numbing roars coming from the depths of the mist, as if some kind of terrifying monster was coming out of it. Without any time to think, everyone immediately prepared for battle. The next second, streaks of red light appeared in the depths of the blinding white mist. The red lights stood opposite each other, and the shape turned out to be the eyes of some kind of creature. As soon as everyone was ready to fight, these creatures with red eyes rushed out with bursts of fishy smell. Caught off guard, more than 10 Taoist disciples were thrown to the ground by these creatures. It was not until this time that they finally saw what these monsters looked like. It turned out to be a Doberman pinscher with a head and shoulders over 1 meter tall and bulging muscles. These Dobermans are not only stronger and taller than ordinary Dobermans, but their eyes reveal a bloodthirsty light that is terrifying. What's even more terrifying is that it's as if their skin has been peeled off, with all their muscles completely exposed, and all their teeth have been replaced with alloys. A Taoist disciple was accidentally bitten off a large piece of meat by one of them. In an instant, a large amount of blood spurted out. There were bursts of black smoke coming out of the bitten place. Be careful! These guys are poisonous. Seeing this scene, everyone still didn't know that these were not ordinary hunting dogs, but were born after some kind of transformation by Zairi, just like the evil dragon in the river before. Fortunately, everyone who reacted at this time immediately chanted the spell and invited the gods to help. At the same time, he also took out his magic weapon and talismans to fight with these modified Dobermans. However, what surprised everyone was that the magic weapons and talismans that could easily restrain evil spirits had no effect on these Dobermans. In this way, the only means they can use is close combat. The SWAT soldiers who came in with them saw that the scene was very chaotic, but they did not dare to shoot casually. In this restricted site environment, it would be difficult to hit the wrong person. But that's not the worst. After the first batch of Dobermans jumped out, a large wave of equally ferocious Tuzuo dogs soon followed. There are nearly 200 animals in total. These more than 200 fierce fighting dogs, without exception, have been transformed by Zai, and each one has enough fighting power to kill ligers. And there is no pain or fear at all. Even if he is accidentally injured, the wound will be completely healed quickly by a mysterious power. As one goes and the other goes, Xiao Yuiyu and the Taoist people he leads fall into an absolute disadvantage. At the same time, the situation on the other side, including Boss Yang and the two teams, was not much better. One team encountered a large number of poisonous snakes and pythons, and the other team encountered a large number of mutated spiders, centipedes, scorpions, and other poisonous insects and ants. Since they are all living creatures, those methods of restraining evil spirits have no effect on them. Instead, they themselves were bruised and bruised. At this extremely critical moment, a loud cry suddenly came from the sky above Zhongcheng. Entertainment, let you do a side job and set up a stall to tell fortunes. Author, Immortal Q int Love is. Chapter 457. No one would have thought that this group of young people would have such a skill. The former ninja Onmyoji suddenly began to control beasts when he arrived here. Just when everyone in the Taoist sect was moaning in agony after being beaten, the loud cry in the sky instantly attracted everyone's attention. When they looked up, they saw a giant eagle, larger than a passenger plane, swooping down from the sky. This super large eagle's eyes seemed to be equipped with radar, and it directly locked onto one of the three areas. With a huge black shadow, it landed on a building in the city center. At this moment, this building has been occupied by a large number of venomous snakes, including many pythons as big as buckets. As soon as the giant eagle rushed down, it grabbed two pythons with its two talons, and then swallowed them directly into its stomach like spicy strips. At the same time, there was a dark cloud in the sky. If you look carefully at what kind of black clouds there are, you can see that they are thousands of large raptors. After seeing the large number of venomous snakes in the building, these raptors seemed to have seen an all-you-can-eat buffet. He rushed down in one dive. Then, like the giant eagle before, it joined the dining camp. Under the suppression of the powerful bloodline, the terrifying group of snakes was instantly defeated. I tried my best to escape, but in the end I couldn't escape the secret of being eaten. Even if someone occasionally escapes out of the building, they will be shot to death by the SWAT soldiers guarding outside. After dealing with the poisonous snakes here, the group of large raptors that had just flown in, led by the giant eagle, rushed to the next location as if they were rushing to a party. Soon they arrived at the place where there were all kinds of poisonous insects and ants. There is no doubt that birds are a deterrent to insects and ants. If killing those poisonous snakes before was like eating noodles, then eating these insects and ants felt like eating rice. When they opened their huge mouths, they swallowed countless insects and ants into their stomachs. In the face of the powerful digestive systems of these raptors, the venom they rely on is directly broken down by the powerful stomach acid. Even after eating, the raptors did not want to eat, and kept using their beaks and claws to kill the insects and ants on the spot. When they left, the ground was covered with corpses of insects and ants, covering it in a thick layer. Such a scene immediately confused Boss Yang and Kun Kun, who were not far away. They were already prepared to use other means. But unexpectedly, such a group of raptors suddenly appeared. Thinking of the eagle that was as big as a passenger plane just now, I didn't understand that this big guy must be the reinforcements Yang Lin invited for them. While the other two teams were being rescued one after another, Xiao Yuiyu and others, who were being besieged by more than 200 hunting dogs, also waited for their reinforcements. They only heard bursts of rumbling sounds, and the next second a large group of majestic figures rushed out from a natural wetland behind the scenic spot. Each of these figures is huge and strong, and they move like small tanks. After getting closer, everyone realized that this was actually a group of large wild boars. This group of wild boars seemed to have received some kind of summons, and they rushed into the white mist. They did not attack the people in the Taoist section. Instead, they pointed their fangs straight at the hounds, and without saying a word, they bumped into them. Although those hounds are all very muscular, they are still not as big as these half-wild, half-domesticated wild boars. They were knocked out on the spot, and then they were greeted by a stampede. More than 400 wild boars charged at the same time. Even though these hounds had been modified, they still couldn't withstand it. Many hounds didn't even have time to repair their injuries before their heads were crushed by thick pigs' hooves. The key is that these wild boars are dedicated to charging back and forth. After this continued for about 10 minutes, the wild boars quickly returned to the area where they lived along the original path. At this moment, the white fog that originally filled the entire villa was finally dispersed by the special police using special equipment to remove haze. After just one glance, everyone was frightened by what they saw. I saw that the interior of the villa, which had a petty bourgeois atmosphere, had now become a mess. The internal roads, greening, and even various decorations were all smashed to pieces by the group of wild boars just now. Of course, the worst thing is the more than 200 fierce dogs just now. At this moment, they were all lying on the ground. After being trampled several times by more than 400 wild boars weighing more than 300 kilograms, all the organs in their bodies and even their brains were trampled to pieces. To say it's minced meat is an understatement. As far as I could see, not a single one was still alive. The strong smell of blood and fishy smell constantly irritated everyone's nostrils. After being stunned for a while, everyone remembered their mission this time. After briefly treating their injuries, they cautiously moved towards the center of the villa again. The attack just now was obviously someone who was targeting them and didn't want them to go further inside. Everyone, be careful. There might be something else inside. After whispering instructions to everyone, Xiao Yuiyu, holding a magical sword, took the lead. After passing through the many buildings of the manor, they soon saw a familiar building in the deepest part of the manor. A temple that was exactly the same as the ghost temple they saw in the demon city before. The same gloominess, the same evil. Just when everyone was looking at the ghost temple with cautious faces, several men wearing the traditional hunting clothes of the Neon Kingdom came out. After seeing Xiao Yuiyu and others, there was no trace of panic on their faces. A group of special police officers pointed their guns directly at these people to prevent them from making any changes. However, to everyone's surprise, these people seemed to have no intention of resisting at all. They sat at the door of the ghost temple in front of everyone, then took out the samurai sword from their waists and pointed it at their own without saying a word. The stomach is like a knife. Then he pulled it sideways, and blood spread all over the floor. He actually committed suicide by cesarean section so hastily. Faced with this situation, everyone felt a little confused. Only Xiao Yuiyu, who walked into the front, suddenly felt bad. No, these guys sacrificed themselves. They are trying to activate the formation here. As soon as he finished speaking, there was a slight vibration on the ground. There was even a heart-stopping strong sense of oppression coming from inside the ghost temple behind him. The next second a huge hand broke through the roof. Then a dog-headed monster with a red fang and an iron chain in hand, more than 10 meters tall, slowly stood up. As the dog-headed monster pulled hard on the chain in its hand, bursts of whining came from an ancient well dozens of meters behind it. It is obvious that this ancient well is the connection between this place and the underground dragon vein. The dragon vein below was trapped by Xiao Ri's secret method, and was now being held hostage by the dog-headed monster. Its proud eyes seemed to say that if anyone dared to harm it, it would immediately kill the dragon vein below. However, what it didn't notice was that when it first appeared, there were more than a dozen sniper rifles aimed at its huge body not far away. If you look carefully, you will find that the tops of these sniper rifles are painted with various runes in red cinnabar. Even the bullets are the same. Entertainment, let you do a side job and set up a stall to tell fortunes. Author, Immortal Q int Love is. Chapter 458. With the appearance of the dog-headed monster in the manor, the atmosphere suddenly became extremely depressing. Even ordinary people can feel that the strength of this dog-headed monster far exceeds the previous monsters. Especially its huge size of more than 10 meters, there is an invisible sense of oppression wherever you stand. Without any time to think, Xiao Yuiyu shouted loudly to the people behind him. Back off quickly. Just when he finished speaking, the dog-headed monster suddenly waved the huge mace in his hand and slammed it towards the ground. One stroke of the stick caused the earth to shatter. The entire manor was smashed into ruins by an invisible shock wave. Everyone in the Dao sect flew out one by one on the spot. If they hadn't put amulets on their bodies in advance, this one blow would have been enough to seriously injure them all. After they finally got up from the ground, they immediately turned around and ran towards the back without any delay. Seeing this scene, the dog-headed monster's face suddenly showed a look of disdain. However, for some unknown reason, he did not immediately pursue everyone, but never left within 10 meters of the ancient well. Therefore, everyone was able to escape. After everyone fled 100 meters away, a look of shock appeared on their faces. What on earth is this dog-headed monster? How can it be so fierce? You know how Xyli created such a disgusting thing. This should be a god in their legends. In their legends, Human-animal hybridization is not a rare thing. It doesn't matter what his identity is, what matters is how to kill him. He should have reached the critical moment of extracting the dragon's veins now, so he will not leave the area around the ancient well. The problem is that he can't live without us, and we can't get close to him. As for the mace in his hand, if he comes into contact with him, he will be killed or injured immediately. We must make a decision early, otherwise, if it is too late, all the power of the dragon vein will be drained by him. Just when everyone was thinking about how to deal with this dog-headed monster, a gunshot was heard suddenly. Following the direction from which the gunfire came, everyone discovered the SWAT sniper on the side. Subconsciously, they thought that the hot weapons in the hands of the SWAT police could not harm the dog-headed monster. However, what they didn't expect was that not long after the gunfire sounded, a huge wound suddenly appeared on the body of the dog-headed monster. As soon as the wound appeared, bursts of green smoke came out of the dog-headed monster, and bursts of screams came from its mouth. There was an invisible force trying to repair the wound, but the bullet that penetrated the wound suddenly emitted a burst of golden light. Not only did it prevent the wound from being repaired, but it also caused secondary damage to the dog-headed monster. Seeing such a situation, all the Taoists were stunned for a moment. What's going on? Weren't the bullets unable to hurt those monsters before? Yes, according to common sense, even a sniper rifle may not be able to penetrate their flesh. Where does that weird power on the bullet come from? Could it be? After some doubts, the eyes of everyone present immediately turned to Yang Lin, who had been standing behind everyone. And he seemed to have expected something like this to happen. Unable to bear it any longer, everyone immediately gathered around him. Master, what's going on? Why can these firearms hurt Xiesui? Xiao Yuiyu was the first to take the initiative to ask. Hearing his question, Yang Lin first smiled lightly, and then took out a talisman from his arms. Nothing, just a little modification of their firearms and bullets. The power of the talisman is given to these weapons, so that the original ordinary weapons can also have the effect of exorcising evil. In addition, I asked them to change the bullet's warhead to a mahogany one. As soon as these words came out, everyone was shocked. Can it still be like this? Then doesn't this combine Taoism and science? It seems that our thinking is still too conservative. Then is there anything we have to do now? It should be gone for the time being. We can only wait until this monster is killed, and then we can go forward and wipe out the methods they laid here. Just when everyone was sighing with emotion, the snipers hidden nearby also fired bullets one after another. The immobile monster became a huge living target in their eyes. One after another, bullets with special power hit his vitals in a steady stream. The power of each monster hit will be weakened by 1 point. Even though its body contains a lot of evil energy, it can't stop the snipers from hitting its vital points. He only lasted less than 2 minutes before a bullet with a golden light penetrated his brain and hit the ground with a thud. With a burst of black smoke, his body finally disappeared. Seeing this scene, while being slightly shocked, Xiao Yuiyu also hurriedly led everyone in the Taoist sect towards the ancient well. Almost immediately, they quickly destroyed the formation set up by Xiao Ri. At the same time, the iron chain connecting the inside of the ancient well was cut off. The moment the iron chain was cut off, a dragon roar came from the bottom of the well. Although he is still very weak, he is obviously much better than before. Everyone couldn't help but let out a long sigh of relief. Just as they had solved the trouble, the other two teams were also in almost the same situation. Without exception, they all encountered huge monsters. But in the end, these monsters died tragically under the special firearms in the hands of the SWAT soldiers. Everyone in the Taoist sect also took the opportunity to destroy the formations that destroyed the dragon veins one by one. At this point, Xiaoli's conspiracy in Zhongcheng was also announced to have been solved. Things went smoothly beyond everyone's imagination. However, Everyone also understood very well that if Yang Lin was not secretly helping in all this, just by themselves, the evil dragon in the river would be enough to make them drink a pot. Daozang Yang, should we destroy all these buildings like the demon city and then bulldoze them to avoid future troubles? Outside the manor, a leader from Zhongcheng city was standing in front of Yang Lin respectfully, asking for instructions. That's natural. These three places are full of evil spirits. If they are not dealt with, they may become a terrible place. Okay, then we will arrange for people to do it immediately. In addition, I don't know if we can also build a shrine for you in these three places. If it weren't for your shrine, I'm afraid the citizens would not dare to go near these three places in the future. Of course, Yang Lin replied without thinking. Okay, I'll be relieved with your approval, Taoist priest. As he spoke, the city leader immediately arranged the aftermath. Unknowingly, the temple dedicated to Yang Lin has become a customary object to suppress feng shui in the Dragon Kingdom. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Entertainment, let you do a side job and set up a stall to tell fortunes. Author, Immortal Q int Love is. Chapter 459. One day later, the three buildings originally built by Zairi were completely bulldozed. Instead, Yang Lin personally deployed the Feng Shui formation to reverse the Feng Shui pattern in these places. At the same time, it also helped the severely injured dragon vein to recover its vitality. In addition, the middle parts of these areas have been set aside for the construction of Yang Lin's Hung Temple. Naturally, the citizens of Zhongcheng City welcomed this official move. Even before the temples were completed, many fathers and mothers came to these places to worship. Yang Lin, who was resting in the hotel that day, suddenly felt a large wave of faith pouring into his body. The quantity was so huge that it was almost more than the total amount he had harvested during his previous stay in Green Vine City. And this number is still growing. He was confused for a moment. Why did so much power of faith pop up all at once? With such doubts, he immediately traced the source of these powers of faith that appeared out of thin air. Soon he found the source. At first glance, I discovered that most of the power of faith actually came from the people of Jinghai City. Upon noticing this, he vaguely understood what was going on. To make sure, he took out his phone and did a simple search. I immediately found a news video from Jinghai City. When I clicked on the video, a female reporter appeared on the screen. Hello, dear viewers, I am currently reporting back to you in front of the Yangzhou Temple. The temple that was just used to worship Lord Pudu, commonly known as Yangzhou among the people, was officially open to the public. We can now see that a large number of believers are lining up to offer incense to Yangzhou. It is conservatively estimated that there are at least tens of thousands of people present. Yangzhou's deeds are familiar to every Jinghai person. He has helped Jinghai resolve major disasters several times and has a very high prestige among the people. In addition to Jinghai, many people have also started spontaneously worshipping Yangzhou. Looking at the female host who was talking endlessly on the screen, and then looking at the huge crowd of believers next to him, Yang Lin now understood why so much power of faith suddenly popped up. Thinking of what the female host had just said, he searched specifically for the word Yangzhou. Sure enough, there were people in other places spontaneously worshipping him, and there were quite a few of them. It seems that it won't take long for the power belonging to the gods in my body to be raised to the level equivalent to the realm of the Yang God. If this is the case, you will be even more certain of successfully overcoming the tribulation. While mumbling to himself, his fingers began to count. His expression couldn't help but change slightly in the next second. It seems that they have completely lost their control and are ready to burn the boat. I don't know if the evil cult behind them will be unable to bear to take action this time. I have to make plans early. As soon as he finished speaking, his figure disappeared from the room. When he appeared again, he was already outside an imperial mausoleum somewhere. In addition to being an imperial mausoleum, this place is also a well-known attraction. Naturally, Yang Lin didn't come here for sightseeing. After using his spiritual consciousness to inquire, he quickly found what he was looking for this time in the underground palace of the imperial mausoleum. A tattered scroll of scripture. The moment he saw this scroll, a hint of joy appeared on his face. The information on the internet is indeed correct. The remaining fragments of the dragon-searching scripture are in this imperial mausoleum. During this period of time, in addition to trying his best to break the dragon-slaying formation left behind in his childhood, he was also looking for clues related to the dragon-seeking scripture. He didn't expect much at first, but he didn't expect to find records about the dragon-searching sutra on a private forum. What he didn't expect was that he actually found it. Without thinking too much, he slipped into the imperial mausoleum with one movement, while the tourists beside him didn't seem to notice. When Yang Lin came out again, he had a fragment of a scroll in his hand. It was the dragon-searching scripture that he had been looking for all this time. When I opened it, I found that the interior clearly recorded hundreds of dragon veins, large and small, on the land of the Dragon Kingdom. Even some hidden dragon veins are included in it. In this way, Yang Lin no longer needs to go and find out one by one. While he was pleasantly surprised, he also did not forget to take out the burial scriptures. With two unique books in hand, a bold idea immediately came to his mind. Thinking of this, he immediately returned to Zhongcheng and informed Boss Yang and others about his long trip. At the same time, he also gave them the methods to break the remaining formations and some of the treasures in their hands. The three key nodes of Green Vine, Magic City, and Zhongcheng have been destroyed. The dragon-slaying formation is destined to fail to take shape. It is basically impossible for them to steal the national destiny of the Dragon Kingdom. Your next task is to destroy all their arrangements in the remaining cities to prevent them from destroying the local dragon veins. In the hotel room, when Yang Lin handed over the things in his hands to Boss Yang and the other 5 people, their faces showed unprecedented seriousness. After this period of time, not only have they made great progress in terms of mana and realm, but their state of mind has also grown rapidly. Don't worry, Master, we will definitely live up to your expectations. Yes, we will never let those little days succeed. You can rest assured and leave the rest to us. And the officials have given us great help now. I believe the problem will not be too big. At this moment, several people unanimously did not ask where Yang Lin was going. They understood that since Yang Lin chose to leave at this time, he naturally had more important things to do. Seeing how obedient these people were, Yang Lin was about to turn around and leave. However, just as he turned around, several people suddenly spoke. Is there any chance we can meet again? Hearing this question, Yang Lin immediately smiled. Don't worry, there will be a chance to meet again. After saying that, he turned around and strode away, and soon his figure disappeared from everyone's eyes. Facing Yang Lin's disappearing figure, the expressions of the 5 people suddenly became complicated. After this period of getting along, Yang Lin has become both a teacher and a friend to them. It can even be said that it completely changed their lives. If they were to say goodbye like this, they would still be very reluctant to say goodbye. However, when they thought of the heavy responsibility Yang Lin had given them before leaving, they quickly cheered up again. One day later, the 5 of them led the Daemon people and set off again to the next city, Rongcheng. Entertainment, let you do a side job and set up a stall to tell fortunes. Author, Immortal Q int Love is. Chapter 460. Just as Yang Lin thought, with the 3 strongholds in Luteng City, Magic City, and Zhongcheng City being destroyed by the Taoist people, the dragon-slaying plan he had planned in the Dragon Kingdom when he was young was completely gone. Even if they set up feng shui formations in other parts of the Dragon Kingdom to destroy the local dragon veins, without these 3 key nodes, the final dragon-slaying formation would not be able to take shape. Perhaps they themselves understood this reason, so they acted more and more crazily. Before Boss Yang and others arrived in Chengdu, a high-rise building collapsed in Chengdu. Under the witness of countless citizens, a large number of terrifying monsters emerged from the black hole under the building. Suddenly the whole city was in chaos. However, at this moment, a sword light suddenly came from the sky. When the sword light came to the sky above Rongcheng, Kun Kun's familiar figure appeared on the flying sword. After resolving 2 crises in the Demon City and Zhongcheng in succession, he has gained a large amount of karma and his strength has reached the level of the spiritual official. Coupled with the fact that he had experienced 10 reincarnations in that dream, flying with a sword was already very familiar to him. When he saw the scene below, he opened his mouth downwards without saying a word. In the next second, invisible and qualityless Zhengjin sword energy spurted out from his mouth. As soon as these sword energy flew out, they immediately locked onto the monsters below. Suddenly those monsters were killed on the spot by his Zhengjin sword energy. After doing all this, he quickly stepped on the flying sword and flew towards the devil's cave below. Before the people could react, 4 more sword lights soon flew into the sky. It was Boss Yang and 4 others who were following behind. After they saw the tragic situation below, they joined the battle without saying a word. Among them, Xiao Yuyu learned the magical power of Fa Tian Xiang and Earth from Yang Lin, and his figure turned into a 100-meter giant in a flash. As soon as he stepped on the evil spirits that emerged from the devil's cave, he trampled them into pieces. A tall building of more than 100 meters was like a toy in front of him. He casually grabbed a Rakshasa demon that was more than 10 meters tall from the ground, and then swatted it to death like a fly. On the other hand, Huahua, who came down with him, learned the ability to incarnate outside the body from Yang Lin, and he could separate into 4 clones with just a thought. The 4 clones recited the golden light mantra together, and immediately formed a huge golden area. While saving the souls of the dead, he also resisted the evil spirits' attacks. Wherever the golden light went, all the terrifying evil spirits were eliminated. As for Boss Yang, he has learned the magical power of the universe from Yang Lin. A pair of large sleeves are her weapons. With a flick of the sleeves, the evil spirits are put into the space inside the sleeves. She can also use her cuffs to take away attacks from evil spirits. The 2 big sleeves are like a bottomless pit. But when it comes to handsomeness, it has to be Lu Tianxian. As the person with the highest understanding and the strongest ability to control mana among several people, her magical power is to retrieve objects from the air. With the blessing of this magical power, she can control 8 flying swords alone. These flying swords were like her extended arms, constantly circling around with her thoughts. These flying swords can easily harvest the lives of those evil spirits as soon as they have thoughts. The monsters that originally poured out from the cave below the building like a tide were unable to fight back under the joint encirclement and suppression by the 5 people. Even if they released the ghost and god at the bottom of the devil's cave, the result would still be unchanged. Under the successive bombardments of the 5 people's magical powers, the abominable ghost god was finally killed by them with flying swords. The heroic appearance of the 5 people naturally shocked countless passers-by. But what makes the people curious is that since the last time in Zhongcheng, Yang Lin seemed to have disappeared from the world. Suddenly the reputation of the Taoist sect and the 5 people reached its peak in the Dragon Kingdom. The number of fans continued to rise for a time, reaching a level that was unprecedented and unprecedented. They are already so powerful, do they still need to be stars? Some people speculated that he had successfully ascended. A few months later, the name Yang Lin began to be gradually forgotten, but the name Yang Xiu had spread throughout the land of Dragon Kingdom. From old men and women to young people in their teens and 20s, they all regard it as a god. Some people speculate that he retired after his success and went back to the mountains to practice Taoism. After working like this for almost a month, they were able to completely eradicate the feng shui evil that had been left behind in the Dragon Kingdom during their childhood. It turns out that stars have no future. Okay, okay, this is letting them build something real. On their own, they would not be able to survive this catastrophe. The same is true for those Taoist disciples. Those celebrities who originally refused to participate in this variety show are now regretting it. Even Kunken's original negative fans have now become true fans one by one. 5 people, including Reba, who originally had extremely high popularity and traffic on the entire internet, once again became famous on the entire internet at a rocket-like speed. No, I thought they were following Yang Lin in the Taoist temple just for show effect. Now you tell me that everyone can wield a sword. The name of Yang Xiu seems to have become the first belief among the people, and the number of believers is spread all over the Dragon Kingdom. Not only did they lose the opportunity to become famous, they also lost the opportunity to become immortals. As before, the Yang Ancestral Temple was built on the old site of the Demon Cave to highlight Yang Lin's contribution to Rongcheng, while suppressing the evil spirits here and ensuring peace. Those fans who beat them to death would not have thought that one day the celebrities they admired would turn into such immortal cultivators with powerful magical powers. What the hell, didn't they just start practicing Taoism some time ago? Why did they become so powerful all of a sudden? Even if he didn't show up in Chengdu this time. During this process, the 5 people killed countless evil spirits and rescued countless living beings. So after Boss Yang and the other 5 people resolved the crisis in Chengdu, Yang Lin's reputation reached its peak among both the officials and the people in Chengdu. What you said seems to be true. Several other celebrities are here, but Yang Lin is not. Could it be that he has really ascended? But to say that the one with the most followers is Yang Lin. The problem is that the program team didn't say before that their program would make people become immortals. It's better now. It's even less possible for them to go back to being stars. There is no doubt that the methods displayed by the 5 people this time are not only beyond the awareness of the people in Chengdu, but also beyond the awareness of their fans. This is obviously not a minus, but a big plus. By the way, why didn't I see Yang Lin this time? He has become an immortal, right? Along with this, temples dedicated to Yang Lin spread. But everyone knows that all of this is due to Yang Lin. Without him teaching a few people to practice Taoism, without him guiding everyone in the Taoist sect. When things got done in Rongcheng, the 5 of them rushed to the next city non-stop again.